Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of I'll Start on Monday, the podcast. So, this is your host, Yayoi Komiyama, and today I have a very special guest who I know he's not a coach, but I know him through my work, and his name is Chris Rosa, and he has an amazing journey on weight health. And I wanted him to talk to us a little bit about his journey and his thoughts on I'll Start on Monday and i- some of the cycles that he may have had with I'll Start on Monday. So, Chris, welcome to the show. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Likewise, I'm so excited to have you. I've been looking so forward to this. And so thank you. Tell us, I know a little bit about your journey. And I know that, can I just tell people that I know that you've lost 150 pounds
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the last several years, I guess, but especially in the last 2 years, it's been pretty much like that, and, I'd like to say I helped a little bit in that.
You helped a lot. You helped a lot.
Yes,
Absolutely.
and, yeah, I think you just have an amazing story, and it will be very inspirational if people heard it, and so that's why I invited you here to talk to us today.
Thank you for having me. No, I'm so excited, and it's so interesting as I sort of unlocked what I think the underlying issues were with my weight and body image, and journey with self-love and self-care. I actually am bursting to talk about it all the time with anyone who wants to listen. So this is like selfishly very excited to be here to chat about this because it's almost like I feel like I've unlocked some kind of code to life that I just want everyone to know and apply in their own way, and it doesn't even have to be related to weight or body image because I am a firm believer in you can be healthy at any size. You can and should love your body at every size. My journey really has nothing to do with the number on the scale so much as it has to do with self-discovery and exactly and a mental switch.
Yeah,
So that's the thing that I'm bursting at
wow.
bursting to talk about. And so very,
What
very excited to be here. But in terms of the numbers, yeah, that's accurate. I started my with weight, I've been up and down with my weight my whole life, but I hit my highest weight, and I have no problem speaking candidly about it. In April 2022, I was about 433 pounds. And when I saw that number on the scale, it was interesting. It wasn't a wake up call because I didn't really do much to change it, but I did have the thought of, oh wow, I how did I get here? What choices did I make to get here? And I vowed then to at least attempt to try to lose weight. And I was at the time 29, going on 30. And to be honest, I wasn't really taking it that seriously. I did a lot of quick fixes that year to sort of like lose about 30 pounds quickly, but then would sort of not keep my habits. I prioritized partying and friends and fun and youth and frivolity more than I did wellness. And so I kind of lost those 30 pounds and didn't really lose anything else after that. And it wasn't until 2025, so about 2.5 years after that initial weigh-in that I really decided to take it seriously. And then from that time, I was about 392 pounds,
Right.
and from that point have lost about 150. So in total, I was doing the math, it's a little over 180, but I think
Mhm.
in the past year, it's been about 150, which
Yeah.
is crazy saying those numbers out loud, but, it feels like this has been something I've been fighting all my life, and it feels really nice to have found some level of peace with it, you
Right,
know?
right. And I love how you mentioned that word peace because I think that's at the bottom of all of this, right? Like you said, the releasing the weight is one thing, but changing the thinking process and changing the way you feel about yourself and to love yourself. That is really, I think, crucial to a lot of people's health, not just, body, but just psychologically as well. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and I know I've seen a lot of growth. Oh, I've only known you probably I've probably met you, like, in early well, probably towards 2024, at the end of that,
Mm,
probably on and off, and then I saw you more consistently in our group, probably 2025,
yes.
and I've always, like, admired the comments you made, how you've helped people with the psychological part of it, and also with the self-love piece, and how you've have, found peace with it. So, could you tell us a little bit more about that?
For sure, for sure. So in December of 2024, that was when I had the wake up call. I got my annual physical done, and I have diabetes in my family. It's always been something I've been aware of and have had anxiety about maybe eventually one day getting if I, wasn't, sort of where I needed to be health wise. And I would get to the end of every year. I do my physicals at the end of the year, sort of thinking this is going to be the year that I get a pre-diabetes diagnosis. This is going to be the year they get a diabetes diagnosis. And every year that I didn't get it, I sort of viewed it as, okay, I'm off the hook. I can just keep living my life and I don't have to worry about it, which is a very immature way of looking at your health. But I was in my 20s. So that's just like
Yeah,
how a
it's
20
normal.
works. And I had no real reason to take and this is going to sound, I'm sure, crazy to some people, but I had no real reason to take my health seriously because I was fine.
Yeah,
I was walking around totally fine. I had, had a great job, great friends. I felt fulfilled in dating and relationships. So there was nothing that felt off or wrong or that like would be fixed by losing weight. So
mhm,
I then just didn't really think about it that much. But in December 2024, that is when I got a pre-diabetic diagnosis on my physical, and it scared the crap out of me. Like, it really was just this, like, electric sort of shock, and I got the results on my birthday, like, my actual birthday. So it was December 10th, and I was at my office, and my amazing, amazing boss got me a cookie for my birthday, and I went to her office to get it. I thanked her, went back to my desk, and opened up my email, saw the results, saw the pre-diabetic diagnosis, and threw the cookie in the trash. Um, which
oh
is
my
which is
gosh.
funny, but I that was just my immediate reaction. Like,
Yeah, of
and I
course.
was I'm like, "I can't eat this, I can't ever eat sugar," and I just had this complete meltdown, and sort of spent that month in panic mode, in real crisis mode of, "What am I gonna do?" Like, I have to figure out something has to change. I know that I have to go about this a different way because I really need this. I need to make this change now.
Yeah,
And I think if were going to tell anyone that wanted to go on a weight loss journey, which again, that's very personal, you have to have personal reasons for doing it, and always want to underscore that I do think health at all sizes is possible. But if you are looking to lose weight and you do think that is going to be a important piece of your health puzzle,
yes,
what I would say is your why has to be so intrinsic.
yes,
It has to be so, like, at something at your core has to be telling you that a change needs to be made. It
yes,
can't be, "I wanna fit into a swimsuit." It can't be, "I wanna fit into jeans." It can't be, "I wanna, like, post sexy selfies or look hot." All of that is very fleeting. It can't be because you think other people want you to do it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
I've had a lot of and not in a I have great parents, but sort of conversations with my family over the years about my weight, I could tell that they wanted me to be healthy. They were concerned about my health, and I would hear their concerns, and I would sort of, like, sort of say something polite, but I didn't really really I didn't really see a concern.
Yeah,
I didn't care. So
right.
therefore, it was never gonna get done in a meaningful way. And so this was the first time that there was a meaningful intrinsic reason, and it was fear-based, which I don't love. I think that there can be other motivators besides
Yes.
fear, but for me in my life, my journey, that's what it was, you know?
Yeah.
So I then started working with the
Mhm.
nutritionist, who I started meeting with monthly, and she said something very life-changing to me, which was, "Your body loves you more than anything on this world in this world. Your body wants you to survive more than anything
Yes.
in this world, and your body is going to do everything that it can so that you survive.
Yes.
And you can do things for it to do its job as optimally as possible for you. And isn't that the greatest act of love that you could give yourself?" And I heard that, and I had never, ever heard wellness framed to me that way, ever. And she then said, "I want you to ask yourself a question, honestly, before doing anything in your life. But I do think that, like, particularly when it comes to nutrition and wellness, this mantra will be helpful, which is, how do I treat myself today if I love myself?" And I thought about that sentence a lot. I wrote it down, and I eventually put it on my bathroom mirror so that it was one of the first things I saw when I woke up in the morning.
Yep.
And you pass it when I clean the bathroom, when I go to the bathroom, when I'm like, when I'm stocking my shower, I would see
Yes.
the message constantly. And so it seeped into my brain.
Yes.
And at first, it was an if. It was absolutely hypothetical because ultimately what I realized was I didn't love myself. I
Yes.
think I got a lot of validation from being a people pleaser, being everything to everyone at all times. And
Yes.
if I am of service to the people around me and my friends and put them first and pour everything into them, that is my
Yes.
value. That is my
Yes.
worth.
Yes.
And I operated like that for my whole life.
Yeah.
And what I learned through working with a nutritionist and through a year of introspection is, in doing that, the love that I would give myself would be food. So I
Yes.
would go and do everything for everyone and be everywhere for everyone. And what I poured back into myself at the end of the day in private was
Was
food.
food.
And so once I learned that, or really said that out loud,
Mhm.
it then became really important for me to find a way to practice self-love that prioritized me. And
Right.
and so I ended up really cocooning for a couple months and figuring out what it is that I want out of life beyond just wellness and nutrition. And on that journey, I also then started thinking about what I was putting into my body in a different way. So I would go and make a protein shake for breakfast and think, okay, I think self love would be putting protein in my body so that my muscles can grow stronger, so that my blood sugar stays stable, eating fiber, eating nutrients,
Yes.
so that my body is operating as optimally as it can.
Mhm.
And that just became a hypothetical practice. I, like, at that point, still, like, wanted to eat, like, pancakes or whatever, you know what I mean? Which, again, I do believe that, like, pancakes are a great
Serve its
way to
purpose.
enjoy
Yes.
life, and they have
Yes.
their place, and some days self-love is eating pancakes on Saturday morning with
Exactly.
your friends.
Mhm.
But for me, personally, what I learned is that, like, most of the time, 80% of the time, 5 or 6 days a week, like, self-love looks like, from a nutritional perspective, eating the most nutrient dense foods possible to make your body sort of
Function.
operate,
Yeah.
function.
Yeah.
And so that just became what I did hypothetically. And then repetition. I did it every single day.
Yeah.
I didn't allow myself to waver off of the plan. And I think because it was fear, I had the fear of, if I fall off this plan, then I might go down the road for pre-diabetes. So anytime I wanted to reach for something that felt like, sort of like the old version of me,
Yeah.
I would think about that thought and it would scare me back into my plan. Now, I don't think that works long term. It definitely doesn't, but it did work enough in the short term for the first, like, 3 or 4 months of making these changes to where the habits became fully formed
Mhm.
and there was no emotion behind them at all. There was no fear. It just became how I was living my life. The
Wow.
fear is what propelled me to
Yes.
be consistent in the routine, but then once the routine became consistent, there was no fear, there was no emotion. It was just, "This is who I am now. This is what I
Part of your life.
do." Yeah, for sure, and so that became a very cool feeling in the middle of 2025 where I realized, "Oh, maybe this self-love mantra that was hypothetical
Mhm.
became true because I just internalized the message every
Yes.
single day, and it got to a point where would I would go on vacation, and the first big vacation I went on was in March and of last year, and that's where I incorporated alcohol back into my life, like sugar, desserts, because I was going on vacation with my friends, and I wanted to enjoy it, but
Yes.
what I realized is when I would reach for those things that message still came into my head, like, "If you love yourself, what do you do right now?" And what I found was, it was enjoy these things in moderation, enjoy these things with intention.
Yes.
Life is meant to be lived. You can have a margarita if you want on this
Yes.
you can have a slice of cake, you can have a piece of pizza, you can do all of those things if it feels in alignment with the
Yes.
self-love that
Yes.
you are now operating on.
Yes.
That is now your guiding principle,
Right.
and I found and that I was able to incorporate those things back into my life in a way that felt right and didn't feel
Yes.
like I was, like, self-soothing through food,
Right.
numbing through food, trying to find love in the food. I was pouring love into myself 24/7, 365. That food no longer became the lover,
Yes.
wasn't the
Mhm.
lover that it used to
Yes.
be,
Yes.
you know? And
That's beautiful.
that was a
Oh,
really cool
that's a
feeling.
big shift. Yeah, that's a tremendous shift. And when you were saying that, it made me realize there's a term, seeing through the lens of your heart.
Yes.
And that's what I just thought of because that what you did was you were seeing yourself through the lens of your heart, through love. And a lot of people, find still have a hard time doing that.
Mhm,
And, I think it's so wonderful that you were able to do that and be able to think that way because it's a slight shift. It's not a huge shift,
mhm,
but it's a shift that you can do every day, just a little bit at a time. And that creates such a big shift in how you feel about yourself and how you view your life. And life becomes something different. It's not everything becomes something fun or joyful. Like being
mhm.
alive is joyful, and we take it for granted, you know?
And what was so
No.
cool about this is the taking care of myself then became something joyful. You know
Yes,
what I mean? I think I used to view exercise as a punishment. I used to view eating healthy as a punishment,
yes,
and once I started viewing exactly as you said, like, life through the lens of love, trying to find the heart of things,
yes,
you know, really operating from that place of, "Oh, it's actually the greatest act of love to get outside and go for a walk," reminding yourself that your body can take you from point A to point B,
yes,
and you don't have to go at any pace, you can go at your own pace, but just, like, m l moving your body as a way of giving it a hug. Do you know
yes.
what I mean? And
Oh, yeah,
that was really cool
yeah,
to have that shift of, oh, it really was stopping viewing healthy living as a punishment, starting to view it as, "This is how I show love to myself every single day," that all those things then became fun. I started genuinely enjoying going to the gym. I started genuinely enjoying eating I eat the same thing every day for the most part, Monday through Friday, that's just, like, what works for me, but
right,
everyone has their own rhythm. I
yes,
started then enjoying packing my sort of my like burrito bowl at lunch with lots of nutrient dense things and thinking to myself, oh, my body is going to really love these tomatoes and mushrooms and lettuce and chicken and, and in avocado,
Right.
I was like, I started thinking of food as all these great things going into my body that are going to power it
Yes.
the way that it needs to, so that I can go out dancing with my friends until 4 a.m. and never tire, or go for a 5-mile walk with my friend on the beach and talk and laugh and, or go on roller coasters and,
Yes.
feel comfortable about fitting in the seats. There was so much that I viewed differently when I started thinking of wellness as self-love,
Yes. Yes.
not something that you have to browbeat yourself into or white knuckle your way
Yes.
through, you know?
Yeah. I think society, in general kind of gives you that kind of like assumes that that's gonna be the program that you're gonna run on,
Mhm,
right? And I think all around us, we're told given that message, white
mhm,
knuckle it, no pain, no gain, those type of things. And we feel that we're supposed to abuse our
mm,
bodies and abuse our what we put in our bodies and how we treat it. But when you look at it from the lens of love and from self-love, I mean, this is the only thing that we have to support
mhm.
us. When we lose this, it's like when we get a toothache. W-
Yeah.
When we don't
Mhm.
have a toothache, everything's great, right? But when we start getting that toothache, we start realizing, oh my God, this is really painful.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
think it's the same with our bodies. When a part of our bodies start doesn't function properly, or let's say you sprain an ankle, and then you realize, wow, I was able to walk without any pain, didn't even have to think about it. Now I have a limp. Now I have to wear a stupid boot, or, I have to use a cane or whatever, right? And you start
Mhm.
thinking about those things, and you realize that you take things for granted a lot of times. And
Uh,
it's that slight shift, but
mhm.
when you view it from the lens of love, like you said, everything starts changing and you start realizing, okay, I might as well take care of this vehicle, which is my body, because if I don't, I don't have anywhere I can't do anything other things I want to do, like spend time with my friends, even go to the beach, right? Even go swimming for that matter.
Fully. Oh, I have so many things to say, because you said so many wonderful, astute things just there. I wanna go back to something you said about
Yes.
how we've as a culture, if I'm 33, but I would honestly venture that anyone, like, from my age group up existed in a diet culture that was very toxic,
Yes.
that
Yes.
taught us that you need to go on a 700-calorie diet to lose weight, or you need to cut out every single thing that you love, or you need to feel hungry, or you need to be
Yes.
hungry, and then you need to work out. I remember Taylor Swift did a documentary a couple years ago where she talked about her body image issues and her, I don't wanna say eating disorder, I don't wanna speak out of turn talking about this, but she talked about her relationship with her body, and she said that at one point, I think it was, like, in 2015 on her tour, that she didn't view her job as a performer being done if she wasn't, like, starving and then, like, collapsed on the floor at the end of the show, and it's because she wasn't, like, again, I'm not her nutritionist, I'm not her doctor. What I deduced from that quote was that she wasn't nourishing herself properly, she
Right.
wasn't eating, and of course, that's what, like, the culture taught everyone, like, you have to
Exactly.
starve yourself. That's what the culture taught me, so my my sort of journey with trying to lose weight, get healthy, find a wellness rhythm that worked for me was rooted in that culture, was rooted in starvation, deprivation,
Yeah.
discipline, which I'm actually realizing now, like, yes, discipline it's a good thing to have, but discipline is not, I wouldn't say discipline is what changed it for me. I'd say it was love, and actually learning that you don't have to be hungry to lose weight.
No,
You
no,
shouldn't be hungry to
no,
lose
you
weight.
shouldn't.
You know what I mean? And so that's when, like, the educational aspect of all this
Yes.
down came to me, sort of working with a nutritionist, learning that, oh, like, I need to be eating a lot more protein
Oh,
than
yeah.
I'm eating to be to at my weight and what I'm doing at the gym to stay full. I need to be eating a lot more fiber. I need to be eating a lot more carbohydrates. All of these things that, especially carbohydrates, that we're taught the devil, you know what I
I
mean?
know, and I yeah, it's all about balance, and I think that's where, we're taught one food group is evil,
Mhm,
or, the thing right now is to eat only protein, right? No
mhm.
carbohydrates. They're the evil things, right? But it's not that. It's really about the balance of eating all these different things. And I think one time, I think recently we were talking about sugars and the added sugars
Mhm.
versus the sugars that are already naturally in the foods, to differentiate that. And I think it's about gaining the knowledge as well to learn what's going to really nourish your body.
For sure, and what I realized in coming up with a nutritional plan that worked for my size, my body, my needs,
Mhm.
is I was full and satisfied w eating in a calorie range that also benefited weight loss by literally adjusting the nutrition. I never had that information. That information was never taught to me, and I think that it's not taught to a lot of people. I think
It
in a lot
isn't.
of ways, nutrition is gate kept so that people stay in these loops
Yes.
their whole lives. They spend money on this program and that program,
Yes.
trying to figure out what's gonna work and nothing is because they're not being taught, like, the very actually
Basics.
easy, basic things that will
Yeah.
keep you full, keep you satiated, keep you on your path.
Right.
There's been all this conversation about food noise and GLP-1s, which I'm a huge supporter of for people who want them, it works for their lives, and they think that will help them on their journey. Everyone's experience with this is different, and I would
Right.
never shame or criticize anyone
No,
for doing what
I
they feel
agree.
is right.
Mhm.
I didn't use a GLP-1
Mhm.
for my weight loss journey, and in my own very specific experience, I found that changing my nutrition, eating more protein, eating more fiber, staying hydrated,
Yes.
that ended the food noise for me. That alone
It
ended the
was
food noise.
because you were truly nourishing your body,
Mhm.
and by nourishing your body, you also nourish your soul, your brain, and everything. And I think, we always say there's another brain in your body, and that's your gut.
Yes.
There's actually another brain in your gut, and there's another brain in your heart too. So it's
Mhm.
really about the alignment of the brain, the belly, and the heart. And it's trying to find that balance with food and activity that's going to work for you because each person is different.
For sure, and
Mhm.
talking about the brain, what I realized with actually satiating my body, actually nourishing it the way that it needs to, yes, the thoughts about food come, but they do not carry the power
Yes.
that they once did because my body is no longer screaming to be nourished.
Yes.
I think my body for many years through many diets was screaming to be nourished.
Yes.
And I thought, well, nope, just gotta white knuckle through this 800-calorie diet, gotta eat just this like 4 pieces of broccoli and grilled salmon, and I hate fish, you know what I mean? I don't hate all fish, but I don't like salmon. And
Right.
it's so it's like and so it's that was sort of what I was taught. That's all I knew.
That's all of us, yeah.
Yeah, I have been trying to lose weight since I'd say, like, I don't know, I was 10 years old.
Mhm.
Everything, my entire viewpoint on food was solidified when I was 18, and I lost 108 pounds through a 700 calorie a day diet in high school that was regulated by a doctor. So, or I don't know if it was like through a, like,
Mhm.
medical service.
Okay.
I don't know if
Mhm.
it was like an accredited doctor, but it was like a
Right.
medical service. And I remember going to weigh-ins and, like, the scale would be slightly up, like 1 pound, and I
Yes.
would be almost scolded for it, and so then I would, like, work extra hard to lose the weight,
I can relate. Yes.
and then I would be praised the next week, and so I was on
Yes.
this feedback loop of, like,
Yes.
"Oh, deprivation leads to weight loss, which leads to praise,"
Yes.
and
And people pleasers like
sign this
us.
people pleaser up for that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I totally can relate. I had a similar experience, probably my junior high years. Every week, my mom and I would go to this doctor, and
Mhm,
he would weigh me in as well, and I would have to be on this strict diet. It wasn't caloric, but it was, I had to eat, like, 9 different types of food. Don't I don't I've been on all these crazy diets,
same,
but
I mean, I've done everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
and, and he would, and I had to take all these supplements and whatnot, and it was like every week I would go there and I would get weighed in, and like you said, I get praised if I lost the weight, but
Mhm,
if I had gained even a little bit, he was like, "No, no, 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 no,"
mhm,
right? And I remember that, and your brain starts believing that, you know, like you said, you start associating deprivation with praise.
mhm.
And that your brain starts learning that, and your brain starts expecting that, and it's not the right way to approach it. It's really a vicious cycle, and it's like almost a angry, mean way of approaching your body and your health, whereas if you start loving it and coming from a point of love, it shifts so much.
And
Yeah.
I had no idea that this way of thinking was even possible because all anyone in mainstream culture has been taught shows like, TV shows have enforced the idea of
Yes.
deprivation diet, everything has. Like, we're taught that this is the only way to do it, and so for me, it was multifaceted. That was the culture that I grew up in, so that's all I knew. I also didn't really have a strong desire to lose weight. I just
Mhm.
thought the world around me wanted to lose weight.
Right.
So I didn't care that much, and all I knew was like toxic ways of losing weight. So when I would get spurts of a shallow desire to lose weight, I would do it for 3 months, and it would be so difficult because it was deprivation based
Yes.
that I would fall off, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
right back to what I was doing. So it wasn't until I had an intrinsic reason that felt so like like the universe screaming at me to
Yes.
make a change that I didn't even start thinking that there might be a different way to go about doing
Yeah.
this. And once I sought to find a different path,
Mhm.
the information was there and it changed my life, but
Yeah.
I had to seek it out because it's
Right.
readily available. It really is.
No, it isn't, and that's why I love doing this work because I love sharing that it is possible,
Mhm,
and, you know, not through I mean, not through hate, don't use hate as a way to feel whole
mhm.
because, it's only through love that you're going to feel whole as a person and your life is going to have that joy and meaning that you want it to have, right?
When I knew that this was going to be something that was going to stick, that
Mhm.
that felt like a real page-turning moment in my life and not just like a diet that I'm gonna do for
Yes.
7 months and then go off,
Yes.
was around, like, April or May of last year. I had lost about 50 or 60 pounds, so I hadn't really even gotten to the halfway point of this journey. I remember being in my apartment one night, I was just, like, cleaning, just doing chores, and I went into the bathroom, and I read the message, and I looked in the mirror, and I had this very clear thought of, someone could come up to me tomorrow and say, "You can keep going to the gym 4 days a week, you can keep eating th in the way that you're eating now, this new sort of nutrition wellness plan that you've devised that is really working, that you love, that is leading to weight loss. You can keep on this path and you will never lose another pound. Like, you just won't do it. It's just not gonna happen." I had that thought, and then what I thought right after that was, "I'm still not gonna change this. I'm still not going to stop going to the gym 4 days a week, stop eating what I'm eating," because how I felt
Yes.
was I had never felt better in my life. I never had more energy, clarity, peace in my life. That at that point, I was about maybe 330 pounds. That if that was the smallest I was gonna get to, I didn't care. It wasn't going to make me wanna backpedal and stop and undo all the progress that I had made because I was loving my body at that
Yes.
size. I
Yes.
think I loved and am still loving my body at every single stage of this journey,
Love
whether
that.
it was
Yes.
392 pounds, 360 pounds, 300 pounds, 280 pounds, and now where I'm at, I'm loving my body through the loose skin that is
Yes.
all over my body now that I don't really care if I lose. Like,
Right.
I really don't care. Like, it's not about the aesthetic, it's none of that. It's what is intrinsic, it's what's
Yes.
internal, it's
Yes.
what I've unlocked in terms of peace, you
Yes.
know what I mean, and clarity. That is
Mhm.
what is
Yes.
keeping me on the journey, and I wasn't thinking like that at 27, you know?
Well,
I
it's hard
it's hard to, you know?
because nobody tells you about this, right?
Mhm.
And you kind of have to figure it out. But, hopefully this, your story will help others realize that it is doable and that it's just a slight shift in the way you think about yourself and looking at yourself through love. Because, when you do find that love for yourself, you start nourishing this body, you start nourishing your soul, you start
Mhm.
nourishing all of you to get yourself to be happy because life should be enjoyed, right? It shouldn't be punishment. I mean, we've grown up in this diet culture that we think that no, it has to be punishment, in order to look like you know, uh, some model or whatever, even like Taylor Swift, right?
Yeah.
I think she looks gorgeous, but, I'm sure she has her own insecurities as well, just like any one of us. And when you read stories about these models or these actors and actresses, who you think are gorgeous and you're like, they have the most amazing body and whatnot, but some of them are still thinking through that lens of punishment and
Yeah.
hate. And when they shift that, you could tell the difference in who they are because there's this joy that comes from within.
People have said to me, as I've been on this journey is like you you walk differently, you have a different energy, and again I can't see from the outside in, but I do feel different.
Yes.
I show up a lot more energized, excited to tell my story, hear other people's stories. I have a lightness about me now that again, I think I always did. I think I've always been a bubbly, happy person, but a lot of it I think was me sort of I mean, I was always happy. I don't wanna say, like, I was so unhappy then and I'm
Mhm.
happy now because I've been happy at every stage of my life. I, like, loved my 20s for what they were, and I had so much fun, and have loved every job I've had and have amazing friends and a great career, so it's not like I don't wanna be one of those people who loses weight and says, "I was so unhappy then and I'm happy I'm happy and I'm happy now." I was happy then, but I do think that I have an ease about
Mhm.
myself now that
Right.
maybe I was performing having ease at that
Right.
point in my life, and I'm not doing that now. I just feel a lot
It's
more just
really, yeah,
peace.
coming out
Yep.
from within. And there's
Mhm.
that certain glow and that peace and confidence that comes from living that kind of a lifestyle where you come from love. Yeah.
And something that because as I've wanted to talk about this for a while, but I also am very cognizant of wanting to still be, like, an advocate for, like, body positivity and self-love at
Yes.
any
Mhm.
size. Something I think a lot about is I like, your identity is multifaceted, and one thing I learned last year is self-love takes the form and going on walks, putting good food into my body, hydrating, taking care of myself in that way, and doing it every single day
Yeah.
as a daily practice of self-love. But I can take that lesson and apply it to other parts of my life too.
Yes. Yes.
I'm a writer. I love to write, and I have written professionally. I now am more of an editor, but I need to write every single day or at least once a week to feel at peace. The same way I need to go to the gym 4 days a week to feel at peace. The same way I need to eat a mostly low sugar, high protein, moderate carb diet to feel at peace. So I took the lessons from nutrition and wellness that I learned last year, and I'm applying them this year to writing as
Yeah.
an equally essential component of my self-love.
Yeah.
And when I write a piece that I'm proud of and I publish it just on my own, no interest in sort of like making money off of it, it fills me with the same love and peace that going on a walk does. And
Yeah.
so what I would tell anyone is that like self-love, yes, it can take the form in nutrition and wellness. And if you think that you want to make those changes for your own personal intrinsic reasons, absolutely go do that.
Yeah.
But self-love can also be practiced through doing something that you love every single day to remind yourself who you are, whether that's dancing or painting or writing or reading. And if you feel like you've lost that part of yourself, or if you're not showing love to yourself because you've dropped those habits that you know bring you joy, bring those back into your life on a
Right.
consistent basis and see what that does for your self-love. It will completely transform you.
Yeah.
But it's the showing up for yourself
Yeah.
every single day
Yeah.
and making a promise to yourself that you then keep.
Yeah.
That is how I think real self-love and self-esteem is built,
Yes.
and for me, that came in the form last year of weight loss and nutrition and wellness, and I am still on that journey. I'm not quite to my goal. I have no doubt that I'll reach it eventually. I'm in no rush to. That's
Right.
also a great thing about where I'm at in my life
Yes.
right now, is I used to wanna, like, lose all the weight in a year.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
really care about that anymore. It'll come off
Right.
it comes off or it won't, and that's fine too because I am so at peace with myself,
Right.
but I'm practicing that self-love through other avenues this year that have nothing to do with weight loss,
Right.
and I'm still reaping the same benefits of it, so this is a multifaceted thing,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. And like you said, it really bleeds into other areas of your life.
Mhm.
And I think it's a beautiful thing that, it's kind of like the secret. I hate to say the secret formula, but it kind of is.
It is,
It kind
yeah.
of is.
Mhm.
And I think many of us aren't taught that. And it's great that you can share this with us. And I know that like we meet once a week,
Mhm.
you're able to share it with other people in our group and they find so much joy out of it, um, so much information, so much joy from just the little things that you say because they can relate and you relate to them and you're talking from your heart.
I Our weekly meetings are non-negotiables. They are life-changing. If I am in town and I am not sick, I am there, and I have sort of been in support groups when it comes to body image on and off my entire life, and I did not really take them seriously. I did them because I thought I had to. So
Right.
I'd show up, I'd be on my phone, I'd be checked out, I'd maybe be hungover from the night before because
Right.
I'd gone out with my friends. I didn't take them seriously. And this our group, I showed up on that first session where I told myself this is the year that you're looking at things differently, saying, like, "What if you just admitted to yourself that you don't know everything, that a jaded, cynical approach to this has not worked in the past?
Mm,
Maybe not only listen to the people in this room, but be open to the idea of change is possible if you dare to look at things
yes.
in a different way."
Yes.
And tuning into that frequency completely changed everything
Yeah.
because I leave those sessions so just inspired by the stories, feeling seen through shared experience. That's also
Yes.
something I would
Yes.
recommend for people is like, if especially when it comes to wanting to release weight or get healthy, or again, I want to choose my words carefully here because health can look different on everyone.
Yes.
But if you have health goals that you want to reach, let's say that, being around people who are going through those
Yes.
struggles in their
Mhm.
own way
Yes.
is so comforting because it reminds you that you're not alone, that this is an experience that so many people go through, and there's a real there's a real comfort in that, and
Yes.
allowing yourself to be vulnerable. I think being vulnerable is the key to life also.
It is,
I
it
think
is.
if you can allow yourself to really let your heart be seen, it goes back to the heart, as we're saying. If you can really allow yourself to let your heart be seen
Yeah.
in spaces that you feel safe enough to do that,
Yes,
that
I
will
agree.
that will change your life too.
Yeah,
It
I
will.
agree 100% on that. Wow, this has been such an amazing talk, and I'm sorry that we're gonna have to cut it short here,
No, I could
but
talk to you all day.
I know,
I tend to
yeah,
be a bit long-winded, so I'm really sorry. I'm
don't worry.
like,
So, since this show is called I'll Start on Monday, what would be one piece of advice you'd like to give somebody that keeps on saying, "I'll start on Monday, I'll start on Monday," for not just for weight health, but for anything?
I used to be someone who said I'd start on Monday, and I or I'll start in January, or I'll start
Yes,
next month, or, "Oh, Tuesday is the 1st of the month. That's the right time to start."
right?
We had
Yes,
every excuse under the book to push something off. I will say that your body isn't aware that it's Monday.
yes,
Your body isn't aware that it's January. Your the book manuscript that you wanna write that you've been putting off isn't aware that it's May and you need to get this done in January. It's March now, I'm speaking in hypotheticals.
right.
So, if you can challenge yourself to make any change you want to make, both timeless and time agnostic, that will change things for you because it also will stop you from being rigid, it will stop you from thinking, "Oh gosh, I started this diet on Monday and Tuesday was a work happy hour and I had a drink and I had french fries or whatever. I blew it. I'll start next Monday." No, you didn't. You didn't blow anything.
Exactly,
Just take what happened and say, "This doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what I do next. And the
exactly.
only thing that matters after that is what you do next, and what you do next, and what you do next." And that consistency is what will compound in interest over time
Yes,
and lead to the results that you want, whether they're related to wellness or something else.
I
You
totally
know?
agree with
Y
you.
you'll with, like, I have some writing goals that I wanna hit, and I'm telling myself, "Write a piece every week." And I really wanna try to connect this to things that aren't related to wellness and weight because I do
Mhm.
think this is such universal truth
Yes,
of life. And I know that as long as I am consistent with it, and let's say I miss a week, a week or 2 here or there, if I am largely consistent, the work at the end of the year will speak for itself.
yes,
And if you are
yes,
largely consistent with whatever you wanna do and not letting the fact that not letting the "I'll start on Monday"
yeah,
mindset prevent you from making any sort of headway in as far as being consistent goes, you will get to where you're going to go,
yes,
and
yes,
it will happen without you even trying if you
yes,
just put one foot in front of the other and stop waiting for the perfect day or the perfect time to do it,
yeah,
you know?
because there is no perfect time or perfect
No.
day for doing
Mhm.
anything, and thank you so much for sharing that. So
Thank
and thank
you.
you so much for your time today.
I
There's so
appreciate
many golden nuggets, yeah.
I loved every minute of this, and I am so thankful for everything that you have taught me, everything that the group has taught me, and I just really want anyone who's hearing this podcast to know, and I will bring it back to the topic just as we're ending talking about releasing weight specifically. I was someone who thought this will be my Achilles heel for the rest of my life. I am
Mhm.
going to have to make peace with the fact that I may never be able to ride a roller coaster. I may never be able to walk into a clothing store on, a regular store and get a pair of jeans. I might have to assess every single chair that I sit in if it's gonna fit, if I'm gonna fit in it.
Right.
I'm gonna have to like wait. I'm gonna have to hold my breath or catch my breath every time I go up a flight of stairs. I made peace with that would be my life. And because every avenue I've tried to fix to resolve this issue never worked. And love was the answer that changed everything. And if you can find a way to love yourself in a really truthful, authentic way, you can really do anything.
Yeah,
You can do anything in this world. It's
I
not
agree.
it's not discipline, it's not white knuckling, it is love.
Yes.
True love, really thinking about what that means, really zeroing in for you what that means, you can do anything in this world.
Right. Thank you so much. Yes, it's so true that I mean, it sounds kinda sappy, but it's true, it really is love, self-love, and love for, your existence, the fact that we are here on this earth, that we're above ground, right? And
Mhm,
that we're able to do all the things that we're able to do, even if it's just going for a walk in the park or,
mhm,
just, I don't know, feeling the breeze or just, having the sunshine on you, right? Any of those things, we take it for granted. And I think it really stems from thinking it from the lens of love and really shifting that. And, like you said, it really helps to be in groups that with like-minded people and the support of a community to help
mhm.
you get there. So, I think it makes a big difference. And I really wish that a lot of people can have that joy and have that experience. So, you know, I so if any of this resonated with any of you listeners, please tune in again and, we'll talk about this similar topic. I mean, because this Monday pattern is universal and it's really, how we break that pattern, how we can create a little I don't know, little throw a wrench in it so that it doesn't, you could change that up. Those are the things that we do here, and that's what I specialize in, especially with the brain to belly coaching. And I'd really, would appreciate it if people would listen to this and find something that can
Mm,
be, even if it's just one little thing that you can do today to shift that. And so, like I always say, it doesn't change doesn't begin on Monday. It begins the moment you stop negotiating with yourself. So,
yes.
yes.
Wow. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, 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 yes. I couldn't have said it better.
yes. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you, viewers, for listening in and watching, and we will see you in our next episode. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.